Dirk Garner, Artistic Director and Conductor of the Baldwin Wallace Bach Festival. This is our second year in a row with no live performances, and I'm looking forward, as I'm sure you all are, to being together once again when this pandemic is over. Until that time, I hope you all are remaining safe. While it can't replace our live Bach Festival and making music together, we will, over the next several weeks, have opportunities to hear from some of the people that made this festival possible over the past 89 years. We're going to hear from both recent alumni and alumni from a little further back, faculty members that played such a central role in the Bach Festival, and leaders of the festival as well. But there's no place we can start other than with Dwight Oltman. He was the director of the festival for 35 years, and in that time led hundreds, if not thousands, of performances of Bach's music. He collaborated with the greatest artists of his time, and under his leadership, the festival and the Conservatory of Music at BW flourished. I, of course, welcome you, Maestro Oltman.
Thank you very much.
It's a thrill to talk to you. And I thank you for pulling yourself away from the mountains to talk to us for just a little while.
It wasn't easy. By the way, it was 39 years, not 35.
Oh, 39. I'll have to make a note of that. Even better, even better. So, Maestro, with all of that music, all of that study, all of that rehearsal, all of that time, of those four major works, what became your favorite?
I've thought about that, and it's like your children. I can't choose one or the other. I would have to say I like the one I'm conducting at the moment the best. Bach is such an amazing composer that I'm awestruck at so much of what he wrote. It just I can't make a choice.
I certainly understand that. You mentioned to me one time the how exciting it is to you to hear the Cum Sancto Fugue from Mass in B minor.
That is an amazingly powerful piece. That never fails to be incredibly exciting, enjoy, and that's the beauty of Bach. He covers the whole spectrum. He's just as good at the triumphant music as he is at the sorrowful music, and his capacity to change gears is really amazing.
That recording. It's such beautiful music making. You know, I've had an incredible time going through all of this music in preparation for these interviews. I've got to hear your work again, spanning your career, and it amazes me. It's remarkable to me what you're able to do and all of the work and the beautiful music that you created.
Well, thank you very much. It's such a collaborative effort. You know, you're dependent on so many people, and So, and I've never felt like it was my product, that it's a joint collaborative product.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate to work with a lot of good people.
You sure were. And we're going to get to that. I admit, I happily admit that I'm a bit in awe of all of your work, and I watched, as I prepared for you those first 8 years or so, you made it look so effortless. But pulling off a Bach week takes an enormous amount of energy. And I'm wondering how you prepared for it, both mentally and maybe physically.
Well, in that sense, it's a lot like conducting ballet. When I was conducting Cleveland Ballet, I was the only conductor. So when we had a matinee in the afternoon with a 3-hour performance, I had to come back in the evening and do a 3-hour performance. So I learned to be very disciplined about eating, about sleeping. It didn't matter how busy I was. I wanted 8 hours of sleep and I wanted to eat every meal. So the endurance part of it is about the same from ballet to St. Matthew Passion. It's a lot of conducting, and that means a lot of focus, concentration, and physical effort. So the ballet helped prepare me for that aspect of doing big works.
So you spent 39 years leading this organization. I'm interested in what your memories are from those early years and the transition from Maestro Poinar to you, and what changes you made in the festival over that time.
When I first went to BW, I was invited to conduct an instrumental piece at each festival. And Dr. Eleanor Barber, who was head of the Bach Institute, and Warren Sharp, director of the conservatory, seemed to like my conducting. So the three of us started talking about changes that needed to be made in the festival. And we decided that, first of all, we had to reduce the size of the forces, because using a community choir and the college choir and the whole symphony orchestra from the conservatory, this was not really anything like a Bach performance. So we want to change that. We want to change from English to German or Latin. And we wanted to be part of the historically informed performers wave that was sweeping the music world. So we had thought that George Poinar was retiring in 1973, but he didn't end up until retiring later than that. In the meantime, Warren Sharp was thinking about our patrons who were very much indoctrinated in this big production. And many of them said, "Oh, we're so glad you don't do it in that terrible German. It's that ugly language." So he knew there would be resentment when we made these changes. So he thought, rather than me taking the brunt of all that, he would bring in an international figure if we could afford it. And so Helmut Rilling was on our list, and he agreed to come for 2 weeks. And I prepared the orchestra for him, and Stuart Rowley prepared the chorus, and he took it from there. So that was a good chance for me to watch him at work doing the B minor mass. And then later I went to study with him at Aspen, at the Oregon Bach Festival, in Stuttgart at his huge festival in the summer. And so I studied conducting and Bach style with him. At Oregon, we did a different cantata every day and performed it at noon. We'd rehearse it in the morning, at noon we'd perform it. Then in the afternoon he was rehearsing the major work. And also he taught conducting class. I remember him talking about it's like chopping wood. Forceful conducting is exactly like chopping wood.
And that's how he looks.
Yeah, that's exactly the way he was. But interestingly enough, I learned a lot from him because he was extremely knowledgeable. But he was quite a ways behind some of the other conductors in terms of performance practice. I mean, his recitatives were not secco. He held out whole notes. And there are many things that I knew from my side I wasn't going to do, but at the same time, I owed him a lot. And what I learned the most from him was about trying to the pacing and the drama of these big works. Of the the passions are amazing in terms of how theatrical they are in a sense. So I learned a lot from the man, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, it's been, as you know, it's been part of the mission of the festival from the beginning to bring the best artists in the world to Berea for the sake of our students, so they get to learn from them and just gain that experience. And the list that you brought in is, I mean, it's a who's who of artists from those years. It's just remarkable. I wonder if you have a favorite.
Um, I don't want to mention a favorite, but people I had early on really influenced me. Phyllis Julson, a soprano, was an excellent Bach singer. And all those early artists are the ones I got my start with and really set the path.
Like Arlene Auger.
Yes, exactly. I mean, she was amazing, and I'm proud of helping her have an American career because all of her singing had been in Germany, so she was happy to come at an affordable price so she could make her way in America. And after that broadcast of the St. Matthew, I was getting calls from conductors around the country. Where'd you find this soprano? How can I get her?
Yeah, let's listen to just a little bit of her singing Aus Liebe, because it is unbelievable and it's a beautiful recording. So let's hear just a little bit of that. It's remarkable singing. It's just
Sublime.
beautiful.
Sublime. You couldn't ask for a better Aus Liebe.
Oh, you really can't. And on that program too, the same performance is Jean de Gaetani.
Yes.
I mean, what a lineup! I mean, it's really amazing. Just remarkable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a real joy to work with people like that. So from every standpoint, I consider it a great privilege to have had the opportunity to do the festival.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I grew up in a village of 85 people in western Nebraska. There was no Bach around. There were no orchestras.
Yeah.
I'm the most unlikely person to ever have the career that I had, coming from a place where there was no opportunity to learn. Uh, what I learned from my relatives who were amateur musicians.
And what a journey. I mean, the impact you made here at BW and with the festival it's incredible.
It never stops. It never stops. And there's never a final answer. Nobody will ever know. You can read every treatise there is and not know exactly how Bach would have done it. But over time, you feel a connection with the music that you can't have when you just start out. And you feel more confident about just following your own musical instincts.
You promise?
Yes.
I'll keep waiting for that. I'll let you know. So, we all talk about the major work that we do every 4 years, and that's our tradition. Founded in the spirit that all the conservatory students will leave their college experience having performed all of the 4 major works of Bach, or usually. But the Friday night concert is equally important. It's where we hear the cantatas and the motets and all the orchestral music and the concerti and Magnificat. And I mean, without that Friday night concert, you would have a very limited understanding of Bach's music. So you got to do all of that as well. So what became your favorites, or what do you want to listen to from the Friday night concerts?
Well, I think I would choose one of the Brandenburg concerti for an instrumental work.
Excellent. I have just the one.
Tell me what it is.
Okay. Yeah, and that features lots of our faculty as well. Lots of our faculty on that recording.
Indeed, and they did themselves proud. I was very happy with the way they performed.
Oh, for sure. I get to speak with the large group of them coming up soon as well. I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, the BW faculty were invaluable, to have the concertmaster and the principal cellist and all these people who were helping out. That was really invaluable, and I think we all grew together. For example, I remember at the beginning I was always saying less vibrato. And one year, Gary Kozlowski, who was concertmaster, he said, "Do you realize we're playing with no vibrato now?" And I said, well, I hadn't stopped to think about it. But we gradually evolved from that romantic vibrato that we had at the very beginning to basically no vibrato.
Mm-hmm. We're still evolving.
Yeah, it's a constant process.
So what about the cantatas? Did you develop a favorite cantata?
The one I'm conducting at the moment. But it's an amazing it's amazing the legacy left in cantatas, and I think they're sorely neglected in American performing. There are so many great cantatas that people never hear of. So I wish I could have done them all, but I certainly did a lot of great ones.
Yeah, you did a lot. I've counted them. You did. I mean, you've done more than half of them, as far as I can tell.
Yes.
And that's pretty amazing. That's incredible work. You've been so fortunate to spend this life with Bach's music, and it's humbling to me to think that it's just a part of your musical life. Your all the work you did in ballet is just as significant, and then you were the director of orchestras at BW as well. I mean, the totality of your career and the work that you did here is just remarkable.
Well, I consider myself a really fortunate man because, like I said, I grew up in an environment where there wasn't much opportunity for great music. So to go from that to studying with great artists like Boulanger and Pierre Montour and people like that, it's just kind of a dream come true. And I consider myself really fortunate.
Yeah. And I feel myself fortunate to have known you.
Well, my pleasure, because collaborating with you was a great joy.
I loved every minute of it. I loved every minute of it.
Can we go back and do it over again?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You brought such warmth to the festival and to the process. And I just felt like I was stepping into a very meaningful and very long tradition, and just loved what you did with it and the atmosphere and the world that you created there.
Well, I must repeat that I really enjoyed collaborating with you, and it was a great partnership.
It really was. It was really fun. And as you talk about Helmut Rilling and your teachers, that's how I talk about you.
Well,
and your marks are all over my scores and your Tempe. And I mean, I've got all of my notes from all of those years, and they're invaluable to me.
You're very kind. Thank you.
It's heartfelt. It's heartfelt. This has been a great conversation, Maestro. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for asking me, and best wishes for your future Bach endeavors.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to actually making some music again. And I hope that you'll be at our town hall Bach Festival reunion on April 17th at 4 o'clock. All of you listening, I hope that you can all come to this Bach reunion, all presented via Zoom. We have no live meetings or live performances. And you can get information about that at conversation.bw.edu. And it's going to be a terrific time to catch up with your old classmates and see some of your former teachers and directors and the people that have made all of this possible. And we'll just be able to share in the fellowship of this Bach Festival clan. And I really hope that you can all be there with us for that event. And in the meantime, please stay healthy and stay safe.